Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Everyday Technologies. Before we begin, please note the following. This session will be recorded and the recording will be made available on NUS Alumni Relations website from September. NUS Alumni Relations and its event partner may use some or all of these images or videos in their publications, digital platforms, and on marketing channels. To minimize distractions, please keep your audio muted and use the chat panel to post any questions you may have. The questions may be grouped with other similar questions to be answered during the Q&A. If you require technical assistance, please send the administrator a private chat message. This afternoon, we're pleased to have speakers from the tech field share with us various forms of technology and how they can be integrated into our everyday lives. The first half of this session will be covered by two speakers, followed by a 15-minute Q&A. Mr. TK Ng, CEO of SFX Corporation, will first share the practical applications of virtual reality and augmented reality. He will share how the agile development framework called Reality Transform can be used to prototype and develop projects for non-technical users who are new to such immersive technologies. TK is a serial entrepreneur with more than 25 years of experience spanning across enterprise software and technology R&D, visual effects, animation, games, and VR, AR, or MR. Next, Mr. Jim Lim, Executive Education Fellow at the Advanced Computing for Executives, will share on the topic 5G as a platform for transformation. He will explore a number of promising use cases of 5G across various key sectors such as healthcare, transportation, media, and manufacturing. Jim is the former CEO of Good Doctor Technology and former CTO of Huawei International. He possesses more than 20 years of high-tech and ICT experience in business, customer, and project management. Without further ado, may I now invite our first speaker, TK. TK, please.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. So thank you very much for your time and welcome to this little showcase of mine. So I'm TK from SFX Corporation. Today, I'll just take you through some of the practical applications of VR, AR, and MR, which stands for virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality on our platform called Reality Transform. What do we do actually? So just in a nutshell, we are currently in the 21st century and we have been seeing a lot of interesting movies and technologies and things coming along. And for example, like, you've watched, a lot of you have sure watched Avengers, Iron Man. You will wish to live in the world of Tony Stark, where you have all these capabilities and things around you, flying and all that, all those video 3D and all that. And also we have movies like Ready Player One that some of you have watched and show you how the world of virtual reality is like. I'm pretty sure a lot of you love this movie and wish to be part of that world as well. So at the same time, we also, some of the older people here like me, we watched a show by Tom Cruise called Minority Report, and this was one of the first showcase of augmented reality and of course hands interaction, virtual interaction with systems and all that, how you go hands-free and all that. And today, the technologies are all there, and these are all possible. However, the interesting thing is, even though all these are possible, and we are in the 21st century now, companies and institutions are still using very classical systems and software. For example, these are all familiar icons, familiar applications to all of you. So we use them for things like knowledge transfer, work instructions, processes, and assessments. And all of us are very reliant on all these things, or even the paper clipboard, the handheld clipboard. We're all very reliant on all these technologies. So what happened? Why are we not in that 21st century mode? And why are we still training people in this kind of way where we're using iPads, tablets, all that to help us, but they are still paper-based or PDF-based instructions. We're still using Classroom. And Classroom today is something of a privilege and it's not something easy. I know that for the past 1.5 years, all of us have a lot of issues coming back to the classroom. And on-site training, for example, with equipment and all that, these are all not feasible in today's world, especially with the pandemic going on, and also with the new generation of young talents and also talents, even the current talents ourselves, all the professionals out there. There are a lot of new ways to engage. There are a lot of new technologies that can be harnessed. So having said that, let's move on to show you the what we have. So over at our side, our platform, Reality Transform, we brought together our technology and our experience and our knowledge over many, many years. Our whole combined team has more than 80 years experience in the games, movie, and animation industry, as well as 3D and all that. So let me show you some of the kind of projects that we work on to give you a glimpse of what the future holds. So start this off. So this is with our customer partner, Certis, and this is a marketing video they put onto their website at YouTube. You can search for it. And this is an example of a real-world system that we developed for them. using our platform. So this is a live system. It's being deployed and used by auxiliary police officers, trainees at Service itself. And next, we have this interview from Channel 8, which MediaCorp shot in January this year for the news. And there's a short segment on how the technology can be used for students and teachers to collaborate and work together in a virtual world across great distances and across the pandemic as well. My apologies to the non-Mandarin speaking audience here, because this is done for Channel 8, so it's in Mandarin. But I'm happy to engage with you all anytime. You can always ask, and happy to show you all more as we tell you more later on if you have any questions.
我现在呢就要尝试进入这个虚拟世界，去参加一个特别的会议。
戴上虚拟实境头盔，再拿着遥控器，设定好自己的虚拟代表人物，就能开始。
虽然现在我们靠得很近，大家其实是从四面八方来的。我是在家里，会商也是在家里。疫情期间，当然我们很难得不用戴口罩，然后呢可以这么近距离的彼此讲话。我们是不是应该也在虚拟世界做一件我们很久没有做的事，就是握手？
可以来
握一下。
哎，你好，你好，你好。
耶！
这次会议的目的是要评论一个学生的3D 设计作品。
这条龙做得很好，但是可能某一方面可能这边呢这边需要改一下可能这边不是很好。你也可以说放一个在这边，这个是一个贴纸，
拿得到
对，
所以我放哪里都行
放哪里都可以，
真的可以很近距离的去看，
可以很近距离的看。
此外，虚拟会议也能搬到较正式的会议室，只要上载图像、影像，甚至是3维模型，就能在会议中播放或是动手组装3维模型。
Okay, next up, I'll show you with all these different dimensions training. Next up, I'll just show you another use case as well. This is a use case that actually combines both mixed reality, virtual reality, and augmented reality using an iPad, or in an industrial use case. In this case, a customer who wants to develop a digital twin or the 3D printers for in-house training and op support, they have to make sure that they can use their hands, they can use their hands-free approach, not hands-free approach, use their hands to avoid anything, any issues or any injuries or anything with the system. They have to be aware because they're working on a real machine, so they have to be very careful here. So a solution has to be done in a cost-effective way for them to use all 3 different platforms that usually do not work together, but at the same time through our platform they can be put together and be deployed into a real-life situation. So the next video I'll show you that. And this, for now, what you're seeing here is the trainee who's on site. She's actually wearing a Microsoft HoloLens 2 headset. She has a cable here because it's actually recording her view right now. In normal use, there's no cable. It's all battery power. It's hands-free. It's safe for her, and it's tracking her hands as a input device, as well as her hands can actually touch the real machine as well. The trainer over here, she's actually remote, and she comes in through a 5G connection. So she's actually not on site at all. She's somewhere else, and she's actually guiding the trainee on the operations here. And the video is being filmed by a second trainee on site using an iPad, using augmented reality, so they can do a kind of a video production here, so they can show the other trainees what to do and all that later on as well. So you can watch the video.
Sorry?
See 6 buttons.
Yeah, so you see 6 buttons here, right? Okay, so the rightmost and the bottom button is the light button. Press that.
Okay.
Right, so now you see the lights on for the printer.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so we have to make sure that this tray is clean and clear before we submit a job. Right, so now there's nothing there. The next thing you do is press down the tray release bar and then bring up the tray. Yes, okay, now bring up the tray. Right, okay, and then put it back. All right, to make sure that it is it fits properly. All right. Okay. Then pull up the bar.
Okay, so that's how the training can be done through multi-medium and how they can be doing it safely without injuring their hands and all that, and also getting any difficulty. Here is a view from the trainee point of view that you saw just now wearing the HoloLens. I'll just play through a quick one for you.
This is the plate. So if you want to lift up the plate, you have to push down the bar first before you lift up the plate. All right? Okay, now try to do it and see. Press down the bar. Okay, just lift it up.
So all her hands and interactions are being tracked, and the trainer actually can see her hands remotely through a digital twin of herself as well as the machine. So this helps them work together in a more efficient way, as if they're together in the real world. So this is what we mean by the added dimensions, added spatial awareness interaction for our system. So moving on, this is another video to show you how training can be done, for example, totally in virtual world together. And this is three trainees and this is two trainees and a trainer working together, all remotely in VR, so they can learn how to assemble a virtual robot and bring things together. And they also can write notes to each other and move things around and all that. So you can see how Bernice over here can be picking off the parts and all that. This is not a serious kind of real robotics disassembly. My apologies to all the robotics experts over in this audience. We simplified the whole process for everyone to showcase. So this is more of a fun way of showing, for example, education, learning and development to let people learn about the various parts, the motors, the pistons and the servos and all the different parts of the equipment of the robot arm, for example. And not just a disassembly process, after that they can practice, they can do their assembly process. So this can be done like the trainer does it one time and then asks the trainee to try and assemble the robot back, and trainee 2 can do the same thing again. So they can practice the sequence all over each time they want. The trainer can be watching them. So this is as good as being there in the real classroom without having to be there. So the next video I'll show you going forward is other applications. For example, these are also real applications. This is a form of you can say it's a virtual tour, or it's actually a kind of a learning educational tour, or it could be a visit to a place that is exotic that you never seen before, that can be reconstructed through various technologies and techniques in 3D graphics. This is a technique called photogrammetry that we use, and this Spanish street was actually created by the artist in Spain, and we got the model from him, we purchased it, and we brought it into our world, into our platform, and we allow people now to walk around and see and to be in the streets of Spain, just as if they have visited the place, because now at this point people are longing to travel, people are longing to move around. So these are ways for us to virtually now get near where we want to go with our friends as together in this virtual world, and we don't have to worry about having to take a flight or book a flight and all that. And at the same time, you can also do things like this. You can draw graffiti, you can also color the place, leave some marks behind, leave some of your little messages behind for other people who come after that to watch and read and all that. So these are some of the little fun stuff that can be done in VR, AR, and MR today, and that's what we have been developing with our platform as well. So I'll just go to move on this. So just as a quick wrap up and sum up of our technology and our company, our vision is actually to build a low-code Agile framework with a ready-to-go platform for new dimensions of learning and collaboration and entertainment as well. So that's what SFX Corporation and our Reality Transform platform and our vision is all about. And at the same time, I'll end this talk in the interest of time to make sure everybody can enjoy the other presenters' wonderful presentations later. I'll just end at this point. My email is here, tk@sfxcorp.com. If there's any questions or anything, you can either ask us later in the Q&A, or happy to take your emails. Feel free to email me and we can always chat after that. So with this, I'll hand back to the MC, Li Hui, and also to let her introduce Jim and his wonderful talk later. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so much, TK. So now can we have Jim to present on his topic, 5G as a platform for transformation, please?
Hey, thanks, Li Hui, and thanks, TK, for the very nice presentation and demo, right? Very interesting. Yeah. So I'm going to cover just some slides, and if we have time, I'll show a video. But I'm sure everyone saw many videos on 5G, right? All over the place, from YouTube to Google and many other social media, right? So 5G was and is still a very hot topic, if you ask me, right? So what I'm going to cover is some basic concept of 5G, right? and how it impacts some of the industry, right? Again, it's a family day, so I am not going to bore you with a lot of technical and academic details, right? So let's just take a quick study of 5G, yeah? So evolution of mobile technologies. Every time when we talk about 5G, right, people will always ask, why do I need 5G? Is it just faster speed, right? And before we come to that question, let's take a look at the evolution of the mobile technology, right? So for those of you probably old enough like myself, you probably started using a 2G phone, right? But actually the mobile technology started from the 1G that some of you may have used it, right? What we call the water bottle phone, the ta phone, right? Which actually used mainly for the voice call, right? That was in the 1980s when 1G actually first started, yeah? And we move on to 2G, and I'm sure very many people would have owned a Nokia before if you have been using mobile phone, right? Nokia, I think this is called 3210 if I'm not wrong, right? I myself own a couple of generations of a Nokia phone, and during the 2G world, we always talk about what's the killer application, right? SMS was actually the killer applications that I think some of you, if you're above 40, I'm sure you know what is SMS. Some of us may be still using that today, right? But definitely text and talk is one of the key pillar of the 2G mobile technologies, yeah? And then we move into 3G, right? That was when I actually implemented the systems, right, in the early 2000s, right, for mobile companies. So we have been asking, hey, we're very happy. We can do voice call, we can text, right? In fact, the SMS kind of, to some extent, replace a pager, right? For those of us who were in some production support or operation, you probably have a pager, and every time you need to return back the call, or maybe you call back to the station and then they'll tell you who left a message and what's the message. Those were the interesting days in the late 90s, right? But actually the evolution into 3G brings about what we call the data world, yeah? And data world actually enable and come up with a lot of OTT, over the top players, including people like WhatsApp and the rest, right? So SMS to some extent was also disrupted, and subsequently the data world actually took over, right? Then we move into 4G. People are saying that, hey, I'm actually very happy already. Now I got data, and I know I don't need to pay expensive IDD calls to call overseas. So why do I need 4G, right? Except for maybe faster speed. That's where people start coming out with video, right? Video become a norm today, right? Whether today you are very familiar with TikTok, or many years ago you're familiar with YouTube, right? Video become a norm. So yes, we have data, but data itself and doing text, using data for text like WhatsApps is no longer good enough. Video become a common world, yeah? So these are the killer applications that come with the 3G and the 4G. So now it comes to 5G, right? So what is the killer application for 5G? Everyone has been thinking about that. To be very honest, I don't have the answer today. If not, I probably would have started a company to develop 5G applications for that, right? But there have been other companies, and we'll take a look at that, where I presented to some investor before, right? There are some companies to watch out for when it comes to 5G technology, yeah? And maybe if you're an investor yourself, you can look at some of this as well, okay? But there were some talks, right, about what 5G is. People say, oh, foldable phones, yeah? Because mobile phone may be small screen, right? I need a laptop or maybe a pad, right? But at the end of the day, if I can have a foldable phone, I can have a two-in-one device, yeah? So that was some talk that, okay, this will bring, or this will be the killer application of 5G. Another thought is that, okay, something that's embedded, right? Embedded systems, maybe on your very thin panel, right? Actually, I visited a company in China called Royale, Royale. They are not in Singapore yet, but they built very, very thin panel that you can print or embed on the t-shirt, on the cap, right? And it really can function like a mobile phone itself. So these may be some of the killer applications coming up for 5G, okay? But frankly, to some extent, 5G killer application has not really come out yet, yeah? So, and you can also notice evolution of mobile technology, right? It's actually almost every 10 years, you have evolution, and you have the next generation of mobile technology. And even today, I'm sure some people have been telling me, hey, why are we talking about 5G, right? Japan or sometimes China already invest in R&D of 6G, right? To some extent, yes, right? But 5G has not really even commercialized fully yet, right? There's a lot of room for growth. Even when 4G was first introduced in 2008, I was involved in some of the technology, but it really get rolled out and commercialized starting from 2010. Yeah. So same thing, maybe some R&D has started in 6G today, but it probably will take 2030 before it's really commercialized. And when we drill further in, it's not just about the core technology of mobile that will progress in the evolution, but there's corresponding ecosystem that needs to be developed, right, from the equipments, from the spectrum management, and many other perspectives. Okay. So very quickly, I presented this last year in SkillsFuture Singapore, and this year I just presented for Smart Nation Office as well. So this is the latest number I got in June this year, right? And when I compare the numbers from last year to this year, right, it was only like 30-something operators last year who have launched a 5G trial, and today it's already 87 after 1 year, right? And then Spectrum Ready was also about 40 plus. So definitely the world is actually chasing after 5G, right? There's a lot of commercialization, there's a lot of trials, people are doing spectrum readiness, right? In Singapore, we are going to have our 50% coverage as per plan by IMDA in 2022, which is next year, right? And then subsequently in 2024 for the rest of the island, yeah? And for those of you who wants to know why, there are many things that needs to be get ready, yeah? One of them is spectrum readiness. And the spectrum that 5G is running, some of it in Singapore today is used for other purposes, for example, satellite, right? You need to do spectrum clearing, and then some of it is spectrum refarming, right? Even in Taiwan, if you have noticed, right, where I actually launched 4G systems in Taiwan about 10 years ago, right? Taiwan today no longer have 3G because they actually use that to refarm it for 5G, yeah? And of course, many of us as consumer, not in the telco world, we know that there are many phones, from Apple iPhones to Samsung, Huawei. Every of the phone is 5G enabled, yeah. But you probably couldn't get much 5G signal yet because we have not really commercialized 5G in Singapore, yeah. So I think one of the key things that we always ask ourselves, yes, the technology is coming, or it has come, right? And people are doing trials and even trying to commercialize it. But how can we actually get an ROI of 5G? So telcos have been asking that, right? And one interesting thing is why we call this subject title as 5G as a platform for industry transformation. Because if you have listened to talks from Huawei, Ericsson, Nokia, or all the big telco operators or telco providers, 5G is no longer just a consumer play. So you don't actually just invest in 5G because you provide faster download speed to the consumer. It is really an industry play, and we'll see why is it so, yeah? Very quickly, comparing 4G and 5G, right? So what we are very familiar with is always the speed, right? Or in this slide, we call it a throughput, right? So it's actually probably 10 times more and 10 times better than 4G. Okay, 4G here we label it as LTE. Okay, we'll explain why if you're interested. Okay, but it's 10 times faster than or better throughput than the 4G. Okay, but other key attributes of 5G is actually things like latency, right? It is actually 30 to 50 times better in terms of latency. It goes down to what we call sub-millisecond response, right? As compared to more than 10 millisecond for 4G, right? And we'll take a look why is latency important and what does lower latency or better latency provide with 5G. Okay, the other key thing is connections, right? It is 100 times better as compared to 4G in terms of connection. And this will link to a concept called MMTC, Massive Machine Type Communication, which we'll look at it in the next slide. Okay, and others will be more technical thing like the mobility of it and the architecture, which will introduce a network slicing, which I will not touch upon it here, right, with a 15 minutes talk. Okay, so very quickly, I think at the end of this 15 minutes, what you need to know, if you ask me that you told someone you have attended a 5G 15 minutes talk, is this triangle, yeah. This triangle summarizes what 5G can offer. And there are three key attributes, or I call it the 5G capability triangle of 5G. Yeah, one is called EMBB. It stands for Enhanced Mobile Broadband, right? MMTC stands for Massive Machine Type Communications. URLC stands for Ultra Reliable Low Latency Communication. So this is an industry standard of 5G, right? So 5G offer EMBB, which many of us will kind of conclude it as faster speed, right? And you actually use it for cloud gaming and the AR, VR that TK has shown just now, right? So this is really what the consumer is very familiar with, okay? But what is going to offer to the industry is actually the other two key attributes or capabilities of 5G, right? With a URLLC, the low latency can enable a lot of self-driving, right? So all the autonomous vehicle that we are doing trials today, whether it's in NTU or some other things, right? Yes, you may not need exactly 5G to let it run the trial now, but with 5G, the capability is very much enhanced, right? And the accuracy is there. The other thing is about MMTC, which today many of us know IoT, Internet of Things, and many of us do smart homes and smart buildings, all those things. Yes, you don't need 5G to really do it, but with more and more in a connected world or in a smart city concept, you will need the 5G capability to really have machine to machine and multiple thousands of machine or millions of machine to machine types of communication. Yeah. So this capability triangle, the three key capabilities, summarizes what 5G can offer, yeah, to us. So again, 5G will change the industry or transform the industry. And you may have already heard about things like robotic surgery, right? Robotic assisted surgery, especially, that already has been successfully trialed or conducted in China using 5G, right? Then we also have things like VR, which I think TK showed, right? AR, VR, which is used a lot in education, in gaming, right? And even smart tourism. Okay. Fish farming, again, I wouldn't limit it just to fish farming, although it's a very famous use case, but in general, smart agriculture, right? Okay, this is probably not that relevant to Singapore to some extent, right? Robotic mining, so sending unmanned robots to dangerous places like the mining sites, right? But in Singapore, some similar concept is in the PSA. So in PSA, there was unmanned operation being tested out using 5G as well. Yeah. Okay. And smart tourism that I talked about. So some of you may have tried online, right, where you can actually get Google glasses, where you can run side by side with a lion in the Africa safari. Yeah. So these are some of the smart tourism, and there are many, many use cases of smart tourism where they are leveraging on AR, VR, which at the end of the day, if with 5G you have low latency and better throughput, it provides a better user experience in the smart tourism. Okay. Then the other one is live action sports. So again, this has been trialed in some European countries, where in a sports stadium compound, you can actually watch the introduction or the profile of the players, and then other relevant information when you zoom into a players itself. Yeah. So these are a lot of AR, VR assisted technology and use cases in the live action sports as well. Okay. Last but not least, smart manufacturing, which we'll take a look at more details later on, right? And then we have smart agriculture that I talked about. Okay, so this is a very high-level different industry that has kind of impacted and will be using 5G forward, right, in changing or better user experience. So this is a smart manufacturing use case. Yeah. So very quickly, those that are highlighted in orange actually leverage a lot on 5G capability. So over here on the right-hand box, you can see the URLC, you can see MMTC. So these are 5G capabilities that I've shown just now, right? Whether is it from remote monitoring to predictive machine, right? Where you can actually collect data through the different sensors, and then you can actually do predictive maintenance. So these are leveraging on 5G, right? For that capabilities. And I think another famous use case is sensor-based smart truck. In general, we call it fleet management, right? Where you can actually, from using 5G technology and IoT sensors, actually guide the trucks in terms of from factory to the destination. Yeah, even doing all the traffic routing, and then collection of data in terms of if there are emergencies that need to do rerouting, tracking of the goods, and all those things. That's done actually a lot leveraging on the 5G technology. Okay. And so bottom part is what we have seen. We may not have so many factories in Singapore, right, to contribute to smart manufacturing. But in Singapore, we do have, let's say, Jurong Island, right? There will be 5G drones that are being used for surveillance and inspection. And then we also, like I mentioned, in PSA, right, we actually do robotic operation, and there are 5G trials ongoing over there. Okay. The other one is, since I was from Good Doctor, so there's a lot of use cases in healthcare, right? So again, these three are the three capabilities triangle of 5G, right? First one is EMBB, as you can see. So what does this higher data rate actually offer, right? So today I can do AR/VR, like what the TK has shown. Even without 5G, you can use Wi-Fi 6, you can use 4G, right? That's for sure. And you can use proprietary technology. But at the end of the day, 5G can actually do that as well at very soon cheaper rate, right? And a faster speed, right? And 5G actually definitely offers better security than Wi-Fi, right? So there will be a lot of AR/VR use cases in education, right? In healthcare education, where you can actually do guidance to people outside of your hospital itself. The other one is using MMTC, right? Again, IoT capabilities where 5G actually enable. So we are going to have more and more healthcare devices or health tech devices that are small enough that can be outside the hospital use. So all these things will be used in our daily life monitoring. Yeah. So this will be doing a lot of machine-to-machine communication, and you need 5G to handle that amount of data and a volume of the machine communication. Last but not least, the URLC, the low latency I talked about, whether is it from autonomous driving to over, in this case, robotic surgery or robotic assisted surgery, right? You really need the low latency. And the next slide actually shows, I think I removed the next slide. The next slide actually shows that there is only a certain sub-millisecond response time needed for robotic surgery. And one of them is actually robotic assisted surgery itself, okay? So 5G status in Singapore, right? There's a lot of trials that's ongoing, right? You have Smart Factory by IBM, Samsung, and M1, right? And then the other one that I keep on talking about just now is a PSA, right? So these are some of them. And then CapitaLand also have it. And then, of course, Razer is doing cloud gaming. So Singapore is doing a lot of trials already today using 5G, and there will be more and more coming out. And as I mentioned, we will have for consumer use, like you and I, we'll have 50% coverage by end of 2022, right, as per plan. Okay, this is what really is more for everyday life, especially investor. I presented this in the investor forum before, right? So if you can see, 5G or any mobile technology has been benefiting a lot of the telco ecosystem. So from the telco provider in Singapore will be your Singtel and StarHub over here, right, to the system supplier, which is your Ericsson, Huawei, right, and others. And then you have your software, which like IoT, you have Zigbee, right, your Wi-Fi, your Bluetooth, okay, and then these like equipments, the chip makers, the foundries, right? So all these are in the mobile technology. So as I mentioned, this is the 5G ecosystem where the telco related ecosystem on the site have been benefiting from the mobile technologies evolution, but 5G really brings about industry play, as you can see just now, in healthcare, in manufacturing, and so on and so forth, right? So I have kind of mapped the three capabilities, right? MMTC, EMBB, URLC, where 5G offers, and you have new companies coming out, right? So for example, EMBB, of course, with the better speed, you have your Netflix, you have your TikTok, you have your Hulu, all this coming out to do the video streaming and so on and so forth. You have the cloud computing players, and of course you have AR/VR as well, right? For MMTC, you have your many manufacturers who are involved in IoT world, right? From the IoT, from the Samsung to the LG, like those smart home appliances, right? And then you have your smart factory like the KUKA, ABB, right? And the URLC, again, you have industrial automation, you have autonomous vehicle, right? So all these are actually sometimes new companies or existing companies entering into the new vertical industries, right? And these are the companies to watch out for if you are actually a share investor, because they're going to leverage, or they have leveraged 5G technology to come up with new offerings. And again, if you look at some of these companies are very, very new, right? To some extent like Hulu as well, right? Some of these may end up as the killer application of 5G, like how SMS is the killer application for 2G, data was the killer application for 3G, video was the killer application for 4G, 5G, we are looking for the next killer application or multiple killer applications. Okay, last but not least, actually 5G, a lot of people will know that it's actually more connectivity play, right? At the end of the day, it's going to give you connectivity network, but you need is in the actually ecosystem of future skills, including the AR/VR that TK has presented, right? Together with your artificial intelligence, your big data, blockchain, and others. These are the ones that are going to benefit each other in the new ecosystem of the future skills and the future technology trend, right? If not, then you have all the good things about 5G, but you don't have sensors to do IoT and leverage on the MMTC capability of 5G. And if you don't have use cases like autonomous vehicles that can do a mobile clinic, for example, right? So your 5G will be there, but without the corresponding technology, it really cannot go much further, okay? That's why 5G is really an industry play rather than a pure consumer play due to speed. Okay. Last but not least, sorry, I know it's a very short 15 minutes to talk a very big topic, right? If you're interested, NUS has a course which is SSG funded, called 5G as a platform for industry transformation, right? You can register for that. I think before funding was $1,088, but after funding of 90%, it's only $100 to $200 that you need to pay and to attend for that. Okay, and NUS and together with Singapore Poly has been awarded by MDA last year to be the entire 5G training PMO for Singapore. So there's a lot of offerings or course offering that's going to come out from NUS, and welcome to join those courses, yeah, and to learn 5G together.
Thank you so much, Jim. So now we will move on to a quick Q&A session. I think the first question TK has answered in the chat, but maybe would you like to elaborate? So the question goes, can HoloLens be used without using Microsoft Teams?
Yes, actually, we also answered back to Casey, and I think I noticed Casey also raising his hand. So yeah, we support multiple hardware. So HoloLens is one of them. We also support VR devices like Oculus Quest, HTC Vive, and multiple best of breed VR, AR, as well as MR devices. So that's how we sort of democratize the development framework to handle a cross-platform kind of solution for everyone to integrate and work together.
I think he also, yeah, as you mentioned, he also raised his hand. So maybe can I invite Casey to unmute your mic and ask your questions?
Sure. Thank you, first of all, very much to TK and also Jim for your great presentations. You know, when TK present, I'm so excited because whatever he shared is very close to my heart. The VR is something that I went to Israel and what I was trying out with the CPU behind me is exactly the same what you were showing. And then the HoloLens is something that I was trying out like 3 months ago. And, you know, that's why we were using Microsoft Teams to deliver this. And thank you for your feedback regarding that. You know, you have developed a platform where you can actually do away with the Microsoft Team. So thank you very much. So I also have a question for Jim. Jim, may I know, we hear a lot about 5G adoptions, whereby people are saying that adoption rate in China is a lot higher compared to the US. Is this true? Because you are in the industry, so maybe you can give us a little bit of information regarding this. And if it is yes, what exactly the reason why US adoption in the 5G is lower than China? That's the first question. And the second question is, you also share about all the big player who is in the 5G market today. So for a smaller player, what are the area do you see that they can play in this arena where, you know, there's still evolutions of the technology, and, you know, we try to catch the trends, and we know that there's a big investment where all the big players coming in, but how about the smaller player? Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Casey. So first part of the question, yes, China has a better or higher adoption of 5G than US, right? Because I presented with Verizon previously as well from US. There are many reasons. I mean, the official reason is China 5G rollout is actually pushed by government a lot, whereas US is pushed by the operators like Verizon, Sprint, and others. Yeah, so you know, in China, just like not just 5G, even their AI also, when the Chinese government want to roll out something, right, they go all out to make it happen. So it was very, very fast. And of course, another key reason is that it's about technology leapfrogging, right? Not just China, right? So even for some developing nation, when they don't have too much system legacy, they can move faster. So China, actually, they, some of the more so-called second or third tier city, they don't really have very good mobile technology coverage. Yeah. And when China government want to actually have connectivity for everybody, so they kind of leapfrog. So you don't have, let's say, 2G, 3G, or sometimes even 4G legacy, and they can actually leapfrog to 5G, right? Whereas US has a better coverage, to be very honest, right? Where you have 3G, almost the whole of US is covered by 3G and some with 4G. So you need to look at the investment, you need to do the technology change, so that will kind of slow down as well. Yeah. So if you ask me, China, mainly due to government push, is a government agenda, national agenda. And secondly, is that you can do technology leapfrogging. Yeah. So that's the situation in China and US. And for smaller companies, that's my interest topic actually. So I actually got a few young grads, right, to try to start a company already, being a small company to leverage on 5G. So one of the things that I'm saying today, and I'm working with some of them from Korea and others, is that content development. So all of us know in the 4G world, you develop a lot of video contents, right? And you know, some of them become so big like TikTok, yeah? So by the same concept, I don't know whether it really killer applications or not, but by the same concept, what is 5G, right? TK built AR, VR, right? But what I realized is AR, VR content is to some extent lagging, yeah? So I was working with a Korean company that focused on healthcare content on AR, VR, right? And they become, I was asking, how come Singapore don't have, right? Really don't have much. So they really specialize in, let's say, CPR content of using a VR technology. Yeah. Then I also see some Chinese company doing tourism content using VR and leveraging on 5G. So I think content development, which is like content development for 4G for video, now it's content development using 5G for specific industry, will be one of the key things that small companies can have a play, if you ask me, other than the big companies. So I myself is looking in that area as one of the starting point. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jim and TK. I'm a bit aware of the time. So if I may, we would now like to move on to the next part of the session. Okay, so here on screen, you will see the digital transformation program offered by the NUS Advanced Computing for Executives. If you're interested to find out more, please scan the QR code on screen or contact associates@nus.edu.sg. We are pleased to invite 4 student groups to showcase their NUS FinTechSG projects. They will highlight how financial technology can connect with your daily lives in a fun way, including a quick demonstration of the use case. This session will be moderated by Associate Prof. Keith Carter, Director of NUS FinTech Lab and Co-Director of Crystal Center. Without further ado, I'll now like to pass the time to the first group. Over to you, Chaiju and Benedict.
Hi, thanks, Liwei.
Okay, good afternoon all. I am Benedict, and together with Chaiju, we will be presenting our project, an app that we created in our FinTech course with our teammates. Many of us here are parents who want the best for our children. And if you do not, I will be a bit worried. But jokes aside, one of the aspects parents seek to instill in their young ones is none other than money management. In other words, financial literacy. But all who have attempted will tell you that it is easier said than done. Look at our first persona, Richmond. He's a 1.1 percenter in financial literacy, but he lacks the time and is not engaging. His children anyhow spends money. Our second persona, Chow Bing, time he has, but financial literacy is not his strong suit. His financial knowledge is only rudimentary. His children anyhow spends money. So we walked ourselves through the journey with our customers to discover their requirements and gathered the feedback from what the parents have said about children attempting to learn financial concepts. Children are uninterested, they forget very quickly, and rather do something else entirely. We then discovered why parents do not seek to impart financial knowledge to their children. And we see a recurring theme. They have no time, don't know where to start, and they don't know how to teach. So we designed our app to solve all these needs, from merely talking about money to imparting financial knowledge to putting that knowledge into practice, and finally ensuring that children stay engaged. I hope all of you are still with me. You must be thinking, surely there are already finance apps out there, right? But none of them are educational. No apps exist to impart to children financial literacy. And thus, none of them are as comprehensive as the app we have created, the FinMon app. I'm sure that now you are most keen to see our app. Chaiju will now do a live demonstration. Chaiju, please.
Hi all, I'm Chaiju. Let me introduce you our FinMon app. It basically consists of 2 parts. One's the child mode and one's the parent mode. Let me introduce you the child mode. On login, you just land it on the landing page where they'll show you the balance. And on the balance, you can see all the 5 main accounts that the user have. In the common one, the most common where you can do payments, you can do EasyLink payment or QR code payment, or just transfer, pay now, to your friends. And the users will all have their own wish lists and needs, where they can tell their parents what are the things they will need. For example, a calculator, a book, some notepad. And because of the link to the parents' portal, their parent will immediately find out what the children needs and also what the children wants. If, for example, some toys or games or even just a favorite ice cream. Next, you can see also how the children can be financially more responsible. It's not just taking money from their parents. They can do tasks that, like, for example, take care of their younger sister, or maybe sweep the floor or folding the clothes and help the mother a bit. And they can also set targets, like in the sports, in the CCA in the school, maybe a better score in math, and then they can get extra income. Next, I'll show you the scoreboard, where it's basically to list out all what they had, how much the user has spent, how much they have earned, and then how much is this EXP. This is something that I'm going to show you a bit more detail later. So how they spend is they can now list down and can even see their history. Then they can realize what are the things that they have spent on, and they can be aware of what is being earned and what is not enough. And the most interesting part is every user will have their favorite pet in terms of it's a monster. And then this pet is just not a play thing. It can be used to battle with friends to earn some points, and where the points can be converted to cash. You can battle with your friends, This is just an example. So that's basically the kids part of it, where it can be still developed. And I'll show you the parent part. The parent part of the portal is separated from the child, but the parent part can monitor what their children has spent or earned. And they can look at what their wish list is, so at least the parents can be even though in the busy time, they can still get to know what their children both want and what have they worked to earn the extra money to get their toy or their snacks. And other than that, the parents' portal can also view the history of how their children spend. Yep, that's all for now. Back to you, Ben.
Our last and final slide, to summarize, here is the relationship between a parent's problems to the solutions we have created in the form of functions. To curb overspending, we have created the tracking and saving incentive functions. To allow parents to be more involved with their children's learning, we created a goal setting and a wish list setting function. To help parents impart knowledge of finance to their children, the key aspect of our whole project, we created the dashboard and an algorithm that will guide their spending habits. And to keep children coming back to learn, we made it all into a game. And with our app, people like Richmond and people like Chow Ah-Beng are now empowered to bring their children on a meaningful financial literacy journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chai-Ju and Benedict. Really good app that you all have put together. And isn't that fun to be able to have a way for your children to learn about money and to save with you as well? Well, Chai-Ju is a civil engineer, and he's now learning all about putting apps together, and fellow engineer. And Benedict has a background in law, a master's in law, and also I've been working with Schroders in finance. and more. So, and now is learning all about FinTech in our FinTechSG program. Great job, guys, for sharing. And if there's any questions about building the app or how they came to through design thinking, please go ahead and put those in the chat. Our next group is going to be with Shankar's team, quite a group who's going to be presenting and walking through with us some of what they put together. So Shankar, really great IT manager who's come through and learned all about FinTech as well, but has a background in programming, Windows servers, and more. And Suin Jian, TJ we call him, has been a flexible and service-oriented man who has gone through his career at trading, has been part of town council, a variety of backgrounds, also had been at Standard Chartered Bank, and now working through the FinTechSG program. Kalis is joining that group as well. He's been an IT consultant for several years and has put together the app that they'll be showing, as well as Famita, who also has come back through the Scrum Alliance and has been doing a number of different ways of programming, but now looking into robotic process automation and more. And Siva, who has a background in semiconductor as a software engineer and is working with us through the FinTechSG program. So welcome this team to the floor as well.
Thank you very much, Keith, for the introduction. Good afternoon, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Suen Jen, and these are my members, Kalis, Shankar, Famida, and Priya. Our group will be sharing with you all on our app for digital remittance, in short, ADR. Okay, for introduction, remittance industry has changed drastically in recent years from traditional retail to digital app, thereby making remittance easier, faster, and more cost-effective. Similarly, our control of the money ends when the money is remitted. But what if our app allows you to know what happened to the money after it is remitted? Who used the money? What are the items bought with the money? When did the transaction occur? Where the money is spent? Our ADR is born to fill this gap as a last mile remittance service. Okay, let's take a look at our persona, Maria. She's 40 years old and she's married. She's from country X. She has 2 dependents and her job is a domestic helper, working location in Singapore. She wants to achieve financial freedom. She wants to transfer money safely to her children with lower remittance fees, real-time status of the remittance, and control how the money is used by her children. Okay, this is the customer journey map. Let's have a simple look at this remittance journey by Maria. The top shows the process and below her concerns. And you can see that the first stage is she wanted to look for a remittance agent. So that will be her concern on whether the remittance agent is licensed and legal. And next, we'll be negotiating the fees. Definitely, she wants to have a lower remittance fee. And before the money remittance, there will be concerns that what if the money is lost during remittance? Next, on the post-money remittance, what if she has a concern that she's unable to control the money after remittance? And lastly, after the money has been sent over and received by her next of kin, the children and the guardian, she will have concern whether are they using the money and putting the money to good use? Are there any misuse of her hard-earned money? These are the concerns that she will have. Okay, so next we will move on to the more exciting portion, which is the prototype. Shankar, over to you.
Thank you very much, TJ. So I'll just bring over to the prototype right now. As you guys can see, basically this is going to be a mobile app. Why mobile app? Mobile is the most of the devices in this world, more than compared to a personal laptop or desktop. So being on a mobile app, it gives easy access for Maria to do her remittance instead of finding a location or some physical location where she needs to go to do the remittance. So the app is going to be very straightforward. As a domestic worker, she just wants to go in, do the necessary remittance to her family, and then move along. So basically, when you click on remit, she can go ahead and choose the contact list from her personal phone book, put in the amount that she needs to, put in the personal message, and even then, below, it can give you a sneak preview of what are the recent remittance that has been done thus far. Proceed with it, and boom, that's it. You know, it's straightforward, simple, keep it simple, so that users, any kind of users, will be able to use it. What else is this going to be? Like, you know, there will be a wallet there, definitely, where, you know, you're going to have your personal transaction histories with your wallet amount, and then the remittances that you have done thus far, and even the top-up portion, like how much you have top up into the wallet, into this app. And then what else? There'll be a messaging services there where it shows the history of the backlogs and the logs, like, you know, top-up is successfully done, remittance to your doctor is successfully done, and stuff like that. Now, hold on a sec. I'm going to talk about the family later on at the end of this, because that is where the special portion is. So I'll move on to the top-up portion. The top-up portion is where it's normal things, right? Like, you know, she's going to use a debit card to top up whatever amount that she's going to top up into the app so that she can read it across. And then services, there'll be a few other services that we can extend. We can look forward to build modules on top of that. You know, like we can work with merchants to come up with some discounts, reward points, and stuff like that, promotions. We can even work with other payment partners to come cross-platform payment systems and stuff like that. These are extensions of the services that we're looking at. Now, the part that I remember to hold on for a while is what we're going to talk about is the special portion. It's the family portion. Why? Think about this. Loved ones. Domestic workers are all over the country because of their loved ones. They want to work so that they can send back hefty amount of money across to their country. So basically, they are here for their loved ones. So the family account comes here to fill in the gap. So how does it fill in the gap, Shankar? You may be asking me, it's like, what's so different about family account? Is there some special things? Yes, the source is coming up soon. So basically, let's say I'm going to take about Maria's family. She got a hubby, she got a son and a daughter. So now she's just going to go, let's say, transfer some cash to her daughter. She's going to click on it, blah, 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 etc. Proceed. That's it, right? Simple as that. Nothing much special. But here's the catch. This is something that what CJ shared just now about the problem statement, about the possibility that there is no trackability, feasibility, or transparency about what happens after that. This is where, by clicking on the daughter's details, Maria now has access to all the funds that she has transferred and remit across through this app, and she can see what the funds has been used for by her daughter. Because, you know, as parents, children are dependent on you. So you have every right to know what they're using the funds for, right? So basically, this gives her the visibility and a sense of relief, knowing that the funds has been used for good, for whatever purpose that it was remitted across to. But hey, hang on. Now you look at the transaction and you see that, you know, she's been paying school fees month after month. And maybe in April, Maria decided to send some extra funds for her to do something else. But maybe somehow the daughter missed out paying the school fees. So there you go. You see, based on this transaction, it gives a relief for Maria to fulfill her paternal rights by being a mother for her, giving her the funds and making sure that she's on top of things for her daughter. And not only that, all right? There is also a sense of relief by knowing where your children are at certain time of the period of time where you're across the country, right? So, you know, by clicking on the location, the GPS will locate where is her daughter's mobile phone and the exact location on the map, to showcase whether she's at home, in a shopping mall, outside with a friend, in a friend's house, or even back home in school. So this is another add-on feature that will help Maria have a sense of peace, knowing that her daughter is safe and sound. Not only that, right? So this is some of the key features that is going to be in this app that's going to leverage on the current existing remittance that's going to help all these domestic workers. You know what Dom Torito from the FF series says about family, right? So with that, I'm going to share across to Khalis, my next partner in crime.
Thank you, Shankar. All right, the digital remittance market globally is right now valued at about 635 billion USD. As you can see, the 5 countries that benefit the most are China, Philippines, India, Pakistan, and Mexico. So our first country that we wish to target will be the Philippines. Why Philippines, you might ask, is because they are one of the most digitally ready countries in the APAC region. And one of the assets of Philippines is its rapidly growing population of internet and smartphone users. Like the bulk of the nation has already grown up in a digital environment, as you can see from their median age of 24.3. And the young ones are more willing to embrace innovation. And about 74% of the population, they prefer to complete tasks digitally wherever possible. Yeah, more than half of the population lives in rural areas where they are away from banks, away from ATMs, and this is where we can come in to solve that gap. only out of 10 right now, only 3 Filipinos do have a bank account. So with the increasing usage of internet and smartphone adoption rate, we can come in and deal with this particular market gap. And right now, there's about 10 million Filipinos working overseas, whereby they will remit money every month to their families quite frequently, I would say. And I won't go into details about our cost structure and revenue model. I will drop in our link in the chat. You can connect with us there to know more about our projects. And yeah, if you're interested to collaborate or invest in, do connect with us. With that, thank you so much for tuning in today. And with that, we end our presentation.
Thanks a lot, Khalis, and please do go ahead and pop those your contact into the chat as well. Hey everyone, I hope that was a very helpful session, because the way that remittances these days, it's challenging. And for people who have maids or from overseas and what have you, who are trying to send money back to their children, sometimes they don't know exactly how that money is used. So this team has put together a social good, and yet for those who are unbanked and it's expensive to send remittance, it'll save the money too, as well as they'll be able to share, hey, are we doing financial literacy? And so you saw that from the first team too, where you can really connect up financial literacy, parents engaging with children. So now we're going to turn to, well, what's this journey been like, coming from people who are backgrounds that are not necessarily all technical, banking, law, and more. And so Ting Ting is going to share her journey and what she's done, and you'll also be able to see some of the work that she's done in GitHub and development as well. So turn it over to you, Ting Ting.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ting Ting. I'm here to present a small portion of my lifelong learning journey. Before embarking on these skills, the only so-called technical skills I had was basic Microsoft Office. Like many others, I was afraid of being overwhelmed by the sheer abundance of technicalities that FinTech may pose. That was until I joined NUS FinTech. I have accomplished in building a website to build a community for FinTech non-tech learners to learn and collaborate together. In this website, I had documented some YouTube videos which can teach the non-tech learners to build a website. Not only that, I had included some YouTube videos for DevOps related topics such as DevOps CI/CD as staying in 100 seconds. In this website, I have also included some of my projects. One of them is the CS50 Scratch project, which I had created a clicker game. This is the link for the CS50 project clicker game. If you're interested, you may access to this link and play this game now. You can see that there's some instruction on the right-hand side for this game. Now, I shall do a live demonstration for this clicker game. It is not as complex as many of you would think it would be. It's about understanding the user experience and user interface and the flow that gives life to it. So, how does it relate to FinTech? Well, as financial services are embracing technology aggressively, most it is done online via a website or a mobile app. And there must be a seamless user interface and user experience and a flow to it, so that as a customer, you'll be delighted. If you're interested to be part of this FinTech non-tech learners community, feel free to connect to my website and my GitHub account and reach out to me. Thank you.
Thanks, Ting Ting. Really an inspiring journey that you've been on, and have been so glad to have been on that journey with you, picking up the new digital skills that are so necessary today as we move forward. And from this whole session, right, we saw 5G and AR, VR, and now picking up the skills necessary to work in those spaces, to leverage them, use them. That's so critical. And so now we're going to have Peter and CK. They're going to come in and share their journey, but in an exciting field of algo trading. So, and what that's all about. You may want to ask them some questions, but of course, they're not necessarily financial advisors. So none of what we can say here is financial advice. Please go to a financial professional for that. But instead, just listen to their journey. Peter?
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Peter, and on behalf of my group, comprising of Ken Tiong, Novita, and Stephanie, I would like to welcome you to NUS Family Day. I would like to present an app which this course taught us to develop. It is called the NUS Money App for Easy Retirement. Now, the process involved our team breaking down our work into different segments, with each taking on different roles. We canvassed for feedback from real-life personas on their pain points as a potential user of a proposed business model. Some team members put on their corporate hats and started developing a cost-revenue business plan. And through the help of a data-driven lean canvas, we put all our findings into one place. And then finally, we came to the web development stage. Now, we started with the persona impression. We designed this app with a soon-to-be retired person in mind. Meet this person, Kate, example of such a persona we interviewed. Kate may have accumulated money through her career, but other than her CPF, Kate is either too busy to look up fund companies for further opportunities, or she isn't tech-savvy enough to find them over the web. And Kate prefers a one-stop dashboard to view her portfolio. And the major pain points here is whether the revenue generated can support her retirement in the event of unforeseen health issues. And the profiling of clients like Kate in this bracket indicates a need of at least $2 million in investment return to address such pain points. So let's take a look at the dashboard. This is our web page commercializing the pain points identified and how we seek to address them. And this is our one-stop dashboard designed to ease clients like Kate by aggregating all components of investments like the bank accounts, the equity instruments, the property, the CPF, and then monitoring them all together in one performance. And all these are possible because of middleware API connection. And as Kate, financial advisor, I will be able to access a screen, as you can see from the monitor, an app to view her portfolio balance. Now, I can use this app as an alert of which of my clients' portfolio is not performing above the $2 million threshold, and then to call them for a rebalance. So let's take a look at Kate's financial health. All right, I come here, I click in Kate, and I do a submit. And I can see that Kate is on the 2.2 million portfolio balance, which is above our 2 million threshold. And this system prompts me to say that Kate's retirement is on track. So I don't have to worry about Kate, she's in good hands. Now let's take a look at another customer of mine. Let's look at Mary, for example. I type in Mary and I do a submit. And you can see Mary's current portfolio is only at 1.7 million, and which is below our $2 million threshold. And the system prompts me that Mary's retirement may not be on track. So this gave me a chance to call up Mary and ask her to do a rebalance with me when she has time. Okay. So this is the part of the demonstration of the dashboard. So how is all this possible? All this is made possible because of the web application technology called MERN, M-E-R-N. I'll explain the alphabets later on. As you can see from the simplified chart here of such a stack, we have a front end where the web page is created. And then we have a back end where the database is also created thereafter. Now in the middleware, we utilize Node.js or symbol N here. And this takes a data pipeline to the backend, and it connects to the database called MySQL, or the symbol M, which is synonymous with the MERN. And then together with the middleware of Express, or E, it connects to the front end and then back again to the back end. So this forms a loop whereby whatever information is asked for in the front end from the web page is then extracted from the database on the back end. You may learn in the course also of database operators like CRUD, C-R-U-D. So what does it stand for? C stands for create the database. R stands for read the database. U stands for update the database. And D stands for deleting data from the database. And then this connects to API operators like post, get, put, and delete. So if you like the wonderful world of JavaScript coding, and here are some of the various APIs to connect the front end to the back end, utilizing my database to contain your data. So join us at NUS FinTech and let our professors here navigate you through the brave new world of modern technology and coding. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Peter. Really good. So we've gone through and seen from developing for an app for family, going into how to do remittance across countries, or even to watch over your family members as well and budgets, onto what it takes to get into this field of fintech and technology and more from Ting Ting. And then Peter sharing, hey, this is what we can change about trading and algos. Let's open it up for questions here as well. So anyone can come in if you'd like to ask the participants, what was it like to go on this journey, to get started, what it took, and more. And so we do have a couple minutes here, and also it'd be nice to if anyone has any questions, I may just open it up, share, and please go ahead. I'm going to take off my spotlight here. Any questions for the people that have shared today? Just one question here. Peter, what was it like, coming into the course from, your background? Give us a little bit more on your background, and then as you came into the course, what was it like?
Okay, actually, I graduated from NUS in 1984. I was a mathematics and computer programming major, but of course, during those times, it was Pascal, COBOL, machine language with the holes on it. so I kind of left that world when I started working, because I went into processing, manufacturing, and transportation. So I only came back recently to Singapore. I was based in Hong Kong previously. And then I saw this FinTech course about new technologies and was quite intrigued by it. So through this 9 months, close to 9 months that I'm here, I think I've kind of more or less given a 101 on modern technology. Within the last 3 years. So things have advanced very quickly in the last 2 or 3 years compared to what it was in the last decade. So I'm very glad I joined this course, because I've learned a lot from it. Thank you.
Thanks, Peter. And thanks for sharing that journey and travel around and working in different parts of the world. Shankar, can I go to you? And Li Hui asked the question, how do we take the first step if we don't have a background in FinTech?
Oh, the first step, please apply for NUS FinTech course. That will be your first step. But jokes aside, yes, read out about financials, read out about some of the technological things that you have on the FinTech web space. And you can even look at Ting Ting's website. Ting Ting's website that she shared across will have some information about that too. Have an open mind. That's the very important thing. And that's always what Professor Keith always says. Know, decide, and add. That's the most important key thing. I think that's the takeaway. Thank you.
Thanks, Shankar. Take that first step. KC asks a question here as well. He doesn't know much about FinTech. Again and again, He's heard it though. And that's great that you'll go and look at Ting Ting's website. That's really exciting. Chaiju, do you want to step in and share a little bit more on what you just shared as well, Chaiju?
Yep. All right. For me, I mean, I was a bit vague of what fintech means. All I know it was technology and finance, but our internet is such a nice place to get open source free information, where I can say that I learned 60-70% from there. Of course, NUS was the course was great in the compiling it and guiding us through to what is important and what is necessary to learn for the whole course.
Thanks for sharing, Chaiju.
Okay.
And coming in, you came in and said, is this something I can do? Will I be able to learn? Can you share a little bit of your background, though? You're a businessman, right? You own a company. Me, yeah. Okay, I'm a small company. Yeah, basically, I'm a one-man show. But my business is, I belong to the old school business. We are just a basic, some even call us a petty trader. We trade in anything that makes money. So, but this will involve face-to-face and zero technology. The most is probably a mobile phone and an email. So that's all we know. So we do know how to progress with the business without learning new technology. Can help us automate and help us in keeping the data, and then not to always lose piece of paper or Excel files to retrieve whenever we want something. So now it seems I learned so much that everything can be designed, can be compiled into huge databases that it can be accessed from anywhere and around the world, and very scalable, from one man business to 1,000 persons business. So the scalability is amazing. This is one of the big things that I learned. Wonderful, Chaiju. Thank you so much. And I think there's a really great sharing. That Sarah's asked a question here. Does anyone who would like to pick that up? She said to the past participants, actually, these are all current participants. They're still with us. Are you currently pursuing a career in the fintech industry now? So Sarah, we're still in this program together, but I'll let the team, someone pick up on this. Shankar, do you want to take a shot at it?
Yeah, sure. Hi, Sarah. Thanks for the question. Okay, basically, I think the team here is trying to evolve with the times, and currently with the new fintech that is aggressively been globally growing really huge. There's a very huge sector in this. And yes, the team is looking forward to trying to do either apps or some financial services or some sort of a financial planning and stuff like that, where we can put in together. So the knowledge that we garnered through NUS FinTech course, and we want to put together something that is feasible and viable for us. So yes, the team is definitely looking at a possibility of entering the FinTech industry. That's for sure. That is definitely for sure.
Hey, Famita, can I ask you to add in on that as well?
Okay.
Hi, everyone. So I'm actually an alumni from SOC more than 10 years back. So I really have a very good foundation of computer science. So what happens is I actually went on to work on the more on the business side. So I'm actually a bridge between the business and the technical side. So talking about moving into a finance, a fintech career is actually a very good idea after you do this fintech course, because you have a very good knowledge of the business side and the technical side. So it gives you a lot of confidence when you go there, because I feel there are people who, once you know at a high level what is the technology out there, you can get a lot of experts who can build it for you. So if you have that idea to how you can actually delight your customers in the finance side, then you can actually venture into this industry. And this course is actually a very good eye-opener. And also, it gives you a lot of, breadth. And if you want to go inside the depth, you can actually go in areas which you are interested in, because it's a very personal thing. There's so much of things that you can do, but what is actually you're interested in, you can actually go into the depth. But the breadth is covered very well in the course. That's my take on the whole course. And yeah.
Thanks a lot, Famida.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Any last questions here before we wrap up? Thank you. Back to you, Li Hui. Thanks to Alumni Office for helping arrange this.
Thank you, Prof. Carter. Okay, so thank you, TK, Jim, the 4 student groups, and Prof. Carter for enlightening us on the various technologies that we can find in our everyday lives. A big thank you also to everyone for joining us this afternoon for Everyday Technologies, organized by NUS Alumni Relations and Advanced Computing for Executives, School of Computing. Please also do join us on Facebook or Alumni, or check out our website for more exciting events happening today at Cambridge Alumni Family Day. Lastly, Connectors is a professional networking platform that helps the NUS community connect with one another beyond the campus. If you would like to meet other students and alumni, share ideas, acquire insights and opportunities, do scan the QR code on screen or visit the website to sign up and join our online community. We will be closing this meeting in 5 minutes. Please take care, keep well, and stay healthy. Thank you.